Tech Tuesday time. Welcome back. You know, the pandemic may have slowed a lot of things down, but not in the world of tech.
So we are seeing big headlines this week, including the future of the popular app TikTok, which of course we talk about quite a bit, and a historic splashdown, and now a new smartphone. So joining us live this morning to break it all down for us is we welcome back Greg Nibbler with Digital Trends. How are you?
Doing good. Good to see both of you. So yeah, talking about phones this week, we are getting some new things. So the one I wanted to bring up there first was the Google Pixel 4a. So this is the latest in Google's line of mid-range phones, and that's kind of an important market right now. So to give just a couple of the features, it looks very similar to the Google Pixel 4, which is their flagship phone. It's just a little bit less expensive, and the features though are actually still pretty similar. So one of the things that Google's known for are their photography abilities. They have this computational software that'll make pretty much all of your photos look better. It's right along the lines with iPhone and Samsung, maybe even better than both of them, actually. It's something they do really well. So they've got this night sight mode that really brightens up your night pictures. They've got an astrophotography feature if you want to take some pictures of some stars. Ooh. So really great stuff on this. Yeah, it's pretty cool what you can do with these things, but it's that mid-range part that's really the highlight of this. So this one goes for $350. Now, that may seem expensive, but if you think about most flagship phones, the premium ones are starting at $1,000 now. So this really is less than half the price of that. So it's a market that's going up against like the iPhone SE and some of the other ones that some of these other companies are starting to roll out with this new kind of market of mid-range, really good features, not the highest end, but still better than some of those lower ones. And it kept the headphone jack, which I'm a fan of. I think those are going to be going away, but nonetheless, we still get it with this one. So it's at least one more phone with it out there.
Yeah, I lost one AirPod for like 4 days last week. I was looking for it everywhere. I was like, I just wish that they had wires on them still. But I sound
Right?
really old and crotchety complaining about that. But yeah, $350 for a phone. That's not bad.
Yeah, no, it's definitely much more affordable than a lot of the stuff that's out on the market right now.
Yeah, and of course, everyone wants these new phones with nice new cameras because they all have to shoot their TikTok videos. I know we've been talking about, is TikTok going to be banned in the U.S.? Is it going to stay? Microsoft still in these talks. So what's the latest on the U.S. kind of acquiring TikTok?
Yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. So just to give a brief overview for anybody who doesn't know, and I'm sure most people do, but TikTok has about 2 billion downloads worldwide and 800 million active users. So it really is one of the biggest social media platforms on the planet, right up there to compete against Facebook's bigger, but still in that same realm. So yeah, with this latest announcement, and this is kind of like a soap opera when it comes to what's going on with this, but the latest announcement comes from the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, which says that ByteDance, which is the parent owner of TikTok, the Chinese-based company, must divest itself of TikTok, and they're recommending September 15th. Trump came along and said that as well, that September 15th is the deadline, and if they don't get rid of TikTok as far as the U.S. portion of it, that he's going to ban it from the U.S. Now, there are other countries that have done this. India's done it. Brazil, I think. I take that back. I'm not sure if Brazil has yet, but India did for sure. But then you also have the RNC, the DNC, a lot of organizations banning TikTok because of that concern that they're using that privacy data and that they're giving it to the Chinese government. Whether that's true or not, there's a lot of debate on that, but nonetheless, that's where we're at. So Microsoft now entering in, saying that they want to get this deal done by September 15th. Now, they're the biggest one out there that we've heard about. It doesn't mean that other companies aren't looking to do it, but it would be a huge boost for Microsoft to just jump right in to being one of the biggest social media platforms, or having that. They'd be able to have that aspect, but also then they would get access to all of that user data, which is something that a lot of companies want. That's one of the most valuable things you can get right now. So that's also one of the big reasons I think that they want to do it. But it's looking like it could happen. But with the way this is going, every day is some different kind of news that comes out. But right now, that's where we're at. Microsoft probably buying TikTok.
Okay, the teens of America crossing their fingers for this deal. So we'll see.
Right?
My goodness. It's just amazing how much TikTok makes it into the news. Real quick before we have to go, can you tell us about over the weekend, we talked about this yesterday, SpaceX Dragon splashdown on a historic mission. So what's next from here?
Yeah, so really, really cool watching that mission there. So that was the last one in their demo series. So that technically was demo 2 is what they were doing. And that's leading up so that they can get certification from NASA to be the official, or one of the official carriers of astronauts to the International Space Station. And it looks like they're going to get that. The mission was, by and large, very successful. But right now they've got to check out that capsule. So that's one of the things they're going to be doing is kind of reconvening and going over the capsule, seeing how it held up with everything and getting it essentially spruced up for the next launch, which that would be the actual original first launch in this new line of sending people to the International Space Station. So it'd be the Crew Dragon 1. That's what they're going to be calling that one, and that's anticipated to be sometime in September, maybe later on in September. It'll have 3 American astronauts, 1 Japanese astronaut, but another mission coming up pretty quick, a really quick turnaround actually. So within a month and a half, say, we'll probably have another launch.
Yeah, we're entering the era of commercial spaceflight. Pretty cool, Greg. All right, thanks for joining us. Have a good week.
You too. Thanks a lot.
All right, to read up more about these tech trends, you can head to coin.com.